Hi there, Scott ROCKFILE back with another podcast review. Something I've wanted to talk about for a while. I want to talk about my Apple Watch. This is a podcast aimed at people who have smartwatches or Apple Watches they haven't updated. I got the latest one earlier, at the end of last year, and had it for a while. Wanted to talk about what I like about it. Now, if you're not a smartwatch fan, I'm not trying to convince anybody. I like the fact that I can get quiet notifications on my wrist without pulling my phone out. I can respond to text on my wrist. I can answer phone calls on my wrist like Dick Tracy, silly cartoon we were growing up. There's a lot of things that it gives me. Plus, it reminds me to get off my ass and go do something. It'll say, get up, you need to stand up. I have it set for so many stand-ups a day, burn so many calories a day, do so much exercise a day, and I try and hit those goals. It's helped me live a little better life. The main reason I have one, I was given one as a gift, and one time I was in an online conversation and my blood pressure spiked, and the watch let me know. I got a warning that my blood pressure and my heart rate were too high for sitting still, and I probably needed to do something. That led me to go to the doctor and find out that I have high blood pressure. So anyway, it saved my life twice, actually, and it has saved people's lives from the falling thing and all that stuff. But again, I'm not trying to sell anybody on this. I just like some of those features. If I leave home without it, I go back home and get it. I've always liked wearing a watch. As I got older, I got expensive watches, and I like that to accessorize, but I always like wearing a watch. I like to see what time it is. Sometimes there's not a clock nearby, and I just like to look at the time. So I got a early Apple Watch and really enjoyed it. When the 3 came out, I upgraded to the 3 because it did a few things that the original Apple Watch did not, and I've had a 3 ever since. And they added a few features that I really wanted, but I wasn't going to upgrade because mine still worked. And although I like setting up the watch faces, this is going to get into some details about these things. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm sure on the other smartwatches, but you can do this. But on the Apple Watches, you have a variety of ways that you can build your watch face. They have designs, animated things, backgrounds, and all that. And you can add what they call complications. You can add the weather. You can add your heart rate. You can add messages. You can add emails. You can add different things to the watch face. And if you want to trick that thing out with every temperature and every setting and everything that's going on in your life, you can. I, at the beginning, had like the current weather and conditions. I had my daily things, the goals I was trying to hit and that kind of thing. But I eventually turned it on the Toy Story toy box. They gave us with the Apple Watch 3 Toy Story Pixar animated watch faces. You could set it for your favorite character, or you could set it for the toy box. It would be all the characters, and every time you lift your watch to look at the time, and with the 3, it was dark until you lifted your watch. The current watch will stay lit even when it's dark. You can still see the time, even in the dark, which is nice. One of the added features I like with the newer versions of the watch. But anyway, every time I lifted my watch, I would get a funny scene from somebody from Pixar. It would be Buzz Lightyear looking at the time and looking at his time and giving you a thumbs up that they both matched. Or Buzz Lightyear would pop up under the glass and knock on the glass of your watch. You had Andy. You had all the other characters, the dinosaur, the hippo. They get caught under spotlights. They run around. They do sorts of things. And for years, I would not go back to one of the other watch faces. It was kind of a standard watch with these funny things every time I lift it. And it gave me a little chuckle. And several times a day, there were hundreds in there. They would add more. Some of them were timely. There were Christmas ones and things like that. I always thought they could do more, and I would always like to see it like a Deadpool one. So anyway, when I got the new watch, it was the end of 2023, and that was when, if you remember, Apple was going to have to take an oxygen sensor out. There was a problem with they copied somebody's technology. Well, that was enough of a push, that and at the time they were on sale, to get one before they took that out. I'm sure by now, or they're in the next iteration, they're going to replace the oxygen sensor with something else, but when you're going to ban something, everybody wants it. And they were getting rid of this for that piece of technology. And I waited till like the last day they were going to pull it off the market. And Best Buy had them on sale. It was a decent price. I could do the PayPal thing and spread it over 4 payments. I finally bit the bullet and upgraded to a brand new Apple Watch Series 9. I did almost get the Ultra, but honestly, I don't need some of that technology in there. And it's a lot more money for some technology that I arguably would rarely use. Of course, I am in Alaska, and some of that technology I may use, but like being able to dive with it and stuff, making a diving computer, I have a separate computer for that. I wouldn't rely on my watch. But anyway, long story short, I got the Series 9. I didn't want the SE or any of the other versions. The Series 9 that did all the bells and whistles, I do not have a cellular connection to it. I did that with my 3 for a while, so I could leave my phone at home and just have my watch, but I hardly ever used that feature, and it was a lot of money to pay for something I never used. But this one does have the GPS and everything else, and it connects by Wi-Fi and Bluetooth to my phone and my house and does some great things. So I mentioned all of that to talk about the experience I'm having now. One of the main reasons I wanted to upgrade is my Apple Watch 3 wasn't always lighting up quickly when I brought my hand up to see the time. Sometimes it'd be black and I'd have to tap on the screen or hit the crown or something. That's probably a software thing, and it was getting along in the tooth. And also with this new version, they weren't going to support the Apple Watch 3 anymore. So that was yet another reason to upgrade. Now, it's in a drawer right now, and I could still use it. It works just fine. It's just not getting any more upgrades, and it does have a few quirks. It's an older version. This version doesn't look a whole lot different. Less bezels, a little bit bigger, does work faster, quite a bit snappier. But I'll tell you my favorite feature. The oxygen sensor is great. I've had it do my EKG, which it doesn't replace going to a doctor or anything, but it gives you a rough estimate of where you are each day. And since I'm somebody that I have genetic hypertension, I need to monitor my blood pressure to make sure that I don't let it get too out of hand, right? So the watch helps me do some of those things, but that's not the real reason I have it. I really have it for a watch, and I love the fact that I can answer text messages and answer the phone without pulling my phone out. Those are the biggest features I love about it. But do you know what the real number one is? They've upgraded the Toy Story toy box to Peanuts. Now with the new Apple Watch and the new iOS, I believe we're on 11 now, you get Peanuts, Snoopy, and Woodstock every time you lift up your hand to look at your watch. It is a standard watch face, like with hands on a dial. You have 3 settings for that watch face. You can have numerals, or you can not, or make them small or make them big. You have 3 options there. No numerals, small numerals, or big numerals. Or no, wait, it's numerals, hash marks, or nothing. I usually have the numbers because I like the look of the old style watch, even though there's a square futuristic thing on my wrist. So anyway, I told you that the new Apple Watches keep the screen on with minimal light, usually a black or gray scale, so that you could still see the time before you lift your hand. So the time is always on like a real watch. But when you lift it up, the screen lights up and gives you whatever you've chosen for your watch face. I have chosen to give me random Snoopy and Woodstock stuff. And the amount of things that I've seen on my wrist are incredible. There literally has to be hundreds, and it is much more sensitive to what's going on. If it's windy out in the forecast, I get a windy Snoopy and Woodstock, a couple of those actually. If it's raining, the umbrellas come out. The animations they do are everything from Snoopy with a bunch of Woodstocks on a baseball team, to football, to blowing in the sun, the rain, the laying on top of his house. You've got the Red Baron. You've got some of the other characters. They have gone all in on Peanuts. Well, on Snoopy and Woodstock. I haven't seen any of the other characters appear yet. But it's awesome. I mean, honestly, if all this watch did was told time and give me the Snoopy stuff every day, it would be worth the price just for that. I like all the other stuff too. I love technology. But honestly, somebody finally listened and said, we like this Toy Story idea that we did on the early Apple Watches. We're going to double down and do it right. I'm begging somebody to do Deadpool and Wolverine. Why not? There's a missed opportunity here. They could easily be worked into this. And there's a whole bunch of other characters, all sorts of different animations and things that could be worked into this kind of thing. But obviously somebody's working a long time on this. All the animations are very much in the Charles Schulz style, not just the outlines. like the reactions, the way their eyes move and stuff. It is literally straight out of the Peanuts comics. Love it. So if you've been on the fence thinking about getting a smartwatch, I honestly haven't tried the others. I have an Apple phone through my work, so why not have an Apple Watch that connects to it? A Samsung would make things complicated. I do like the Apple ecosystem for business. It works great. I do also have an Android. It's not connected to a cell network right now. I use it for other things. I really enjoyed it. It's one of those European high-end, very nice Android. What is it? Show Me or something like that. Anyway, I do like the Android experience of being able to change everything, but the Apple ecosystem works for business and it's more reliable, and that's why I like it. If you're in that ecosystem, you're in the market for a smartwatch, I can highly recommend the Apple Series 9 or the Ultra if you want to spend the bucks. It's a really good watch. It does a lot of things, and the Peanuts animation is incredible. I'm Scott. I'm ROCKFILE. This was a little talk about my Apple Watch. I promise I'll get back to movies and music. Thank you for listening. Have a spectacular day.